My other thought, Bill, while you're on it, because I think this is something that you've probably dealt with a lot, is we end up getting hired, and then we get in these interesting conversations with the different elected officials and employees of the township as to who can speak to the township attorney and whether there are any obligations to involve the entire township board, right, as far as what's coming from the attorney, or whether it can be a single individual, maybe a supervisor, clerk, and so are there any kind of like legal parameters around that, and then obviously any recommendations?
So the first, I mean, there's so many different pieces to this, and I won't address all of them, but let's talk, first of all, is there a legal obligation for the entire board to receive the attorney's, great wisdom? And the answer to that question is no. If there are situations in which you believe that it's appropriate for that to happen, we can arrange to provide that advice to you in a confidential written legal opinion, which would allow us in a meeting to go into a closed session to discuss that confidential written legal opinion and maybe pursue it in some greater depth, because really you should be able to talk with your attorney and ask for a detailed explanation of why you can or can't do a particular act, and you don't necessarily want to do that in the open where you're giving away your legal strategies. Just like anyone else who's entitled to a confidential attorney-client relationship, the township board is also. The other part of it, though, is that, and I think this was the main question that was being raised, well, who's allowed to talk to the attorney, and when can they talk to the attorney? And that ends up being really a policy issue for your township board. You need to decide that. I would say that it's extremely dangerous, at worst, costly certainly, if everyone on your township board has the ability to pick up the phone and call the attorney anytime about any issue that's on their mind, because attorneys bill by the hour, and so all that time that they're spending discussing questions with your board members is going to end up on your legal bill at the end of the month. You want to manage your legal costs in a more efficient way, and I think most townships at this point, what they do is they will appoint one person or two people to be the contact with the attorney, so that when an issue comes up, that they can efficiently get those questions answered, and that there can't be a legal bill being run up really high without the board knowing what's going on. That doesn't mean that it isn't important to ask for legal help before you do something. It's almost always easier to fix it before it happens than to try to go in and repair damage that's been done by some act that's been taken. But I think you all need to have an efficient process for communicating with your attorney that you're comfortable with, and you need to do that as a board as a matter of policy.